of the USA to Uganda.
Yes.
That's why we are in the UK.
Yes.
We fled Uganda because our parents were murdered.
Yes.
Our families were wiped out by US arms, by UK arms.
Yes.
We don't make arms in Uganda.
No.
We don't manufacture tear gas in Uganda.
No.
Bullets come from the US.
Yes.
This man you see is the head of the torture chamber in Uganda.
Yes.
He's called Damira Christophe.
Yes.
This man is trained in Sandhurst here in the UK.
Yes.
And in America,
The best military academy, Fort Jesus or whatever you call it.
this is where this man graduated from. But what happened when he went back to Uganda? He's now a
Started
monster.
killing
He's the
Uganda.
man who is in charge of Semwai.
Yes.
Damira Christophe. If you mention the name Damira Christophe, Ugandans will be running away. Because
Yes.
they know the head of the torture is here. The murderer is here. The rapist.
Visible.
The man who is leading a team of HIV victims raping women in Uganda and men. This is real. The images
Yes.
you see here, these are real.
Yes.
These Semwai headquarters.
You've got people who are being affected or they are suffering from the AIDS virus, and they use them to rape and sodomize Ugandans
Yes.
as a form of torture.
When you say the government is bad because of wearing the red beret, people might be asking, why are you wearing the red beret or the black beret? It means change in Uganda.
Yes.
It means the respect of human rights in Uganda.
Yes.
Change is overdue in Uganda.
Yes.
42 years is more than enough.
Yes.
UK, America, you can't be the champion of democracy in the world and human rights. And you are
And you
begging,
still-
you are defending, you are promoting, you are financing
The
brutal
murder.
worst dictator in Africa, Museveni of Uganda, the junta. 42 years doesn't represent democracy and human rights.
No.
42 years in power represents repression, murder, kidnapping, rape, silence the democratic people in Uganda. And that's what the junta represents. Today, Ugandans are being ruled by one class. 1% of these militias who have been US trained, they are the people, they are not more than 50,000.
Imagine.
Sitting on 47 million Ugandans.
Imagine.
Why? Because they are armed with American rifles. They are armed with American bullets. They are armed with American tear gas. And that's why we are here calling on the US government
Yes.
to stop the training and
Yes.
the financing of the militia from Uganda.
Yes.
We don't want to believe they've started the waterboarding techniques. We used to hear that in the past, time of the Al-Qaeda, they used to attack Afghans to America and they used to be tortured by waterboarding. This technique now is common in Uganda because these boys, they've been trained in America.
Yes.
They've been trained to torture Ugandans. They've been trained
But why?
to sodomize Ugandans. That's the word we are here for. We stand for human rights.
Yes.
America is the head. The UK hates democracy in the world.
Yes.
And we are asking these two powerful countries to stand with the 47 million suffering Ugandans
Yes.
in bringing democracy and peace to Uganda.
Yes.
People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
NUP.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
NUP.
We can be few in numbers because of the life where we live.
Yes.
Some people have to call off sick from work. Some people have to be off today. We've got a lot of Ugandans, but they are busy representing. Also, we want them to work because we have to look after our families in this country. We might be numbers, we must be few numbers here, but we are representing 47 million Ugandans. And the love, the word speaks by itself. The posters you see behind us, these are real lives. Eddie Mutua and the rest, they've been kidnapped by the head of state, the junta's son, is a general, is the head of the special forces. The
Yes.
wife to the junta, she's the Minister of Education. The
Yes.
Minister for Finance is a cousin to the President.
Yes.
You can imagine that 1% is seated on 99%.
Yes.
Just because they are well armed by American arms. They are
Yes.
well dressed by American uniform.
Yes.
Even their books comes from America.
Yes.
Even their wages is paid by the American government.
Yes.
And this is the name called USAID.
Yes.
This is not an aid. This is aiding our suffering.
Yes.
It's aiding our torture.
Yes.
It's aiding the sodomization of men in Uganda.
Yes.
And the raping of women in Uganda.
Mm.
That's why we are calling on. If really there was accountability on the ground,
Yes.
where we are standing, Boxer was a desert. This
Yes.
was a ghost land. But they invested 8 billion in this area.
Yeah.
Kampala does not look like Vauxhall. 8 billion invested in
Imagine the
Uganda
capital.
for the last 42 years. That is 42 billion down the drain. No public service, no hospitals, no schools, no roads. But every day you are sending one. Every year the US government sends 1 billion.
Imagine.
The UK sends 1 billion pounds. The European Union, they send 307 million to Uganda. All this money
Taxpayers'
has
money.
made the brutal dictator a very rich man in Africa.
Yes.
The richest man in Africa
It's
at
Museveni.
13.5 billion rich. And yet the American taxpayers' money is still being shipped to Uganda on a yearly basis with
Yes.
no accountability.
Yes.
This is why we are calling on the American taxpayer. They are tired of their money being sent to Uganda
Yes.
with no accountability. People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
NUP.
Everywhere.
Every year.
NUP.
We'd be happy if this money goes to Uganda with the conditions that are attached. We are giving you 1 billion. We need to respect the rule of law. We need democracy in Uganda. We need the respect of human rights in Uganda. Not this running where Ugandans cannot afford a 1 pound
Ate wano
parasite.
bannaye wanyumidde ebifaananyi byaffe.
We have a lot
Ebifaananyi
of
byaffe
medication
byanyumidde wano
from
ate
the
ne
US and
bikatala.
Europe. It goes to the government stores in Uganda. But that medication got
Kaakati
expired.
bo bali
Why is
abamagye
it
abamu
expired?
abasekurity
Why did the
Abamerika bennyini bo
so-called
nga bantu
clinics
tebafaayo.
and referral hospitals,
Basindikayo
there
era
are no
omuddugavu
medication.
anyigirize muddugavu
This
munne.
medication finds itself
Ate
in
naye najjanga
Southern
mukaaga
Sudan.
nnyo.
It finds itself in Congo, DRC Congo, written on aid to Uganda
Hey.
from the US government, not for sale,
Bye.
but it's in DRC Congo, it's in Southern Sudan. Why? The corrupt government of the junta
Bagenze
Museveni
okulaba bali nga
is the
tebabiriimu.
worst,
Bye.
most corrupt government
Basooke baggalewo
ever
ebbaala
known as
enaggulawo edda.
Ugandans. Idi Amin was in power for 8 years. And the West, they used to call Idi Amin a murderer because he murdered 50,000 Ugandans, which is wrong. Even one life
bakyalina akaseera
shouldn't, the life is too much. So imagine 50,000. That was a lot of people murdered by the
Naye
dictator.
naffe
Museveni.
tuli kayinja
That time.
bajja kukawulira
Today,
mpaka nga
if you
Museveni
bring
avuddeko.
Idi Amin and you compare him to
Balowooza
Museveni,
balandamu tulaba mu nsi
they
yaabwe nga
pick Idi Amin.
tuleekaana.
Why? Museveni has murdered over 2 million
Tetutwagalangako
Ugandans.
weather yaabwe.
The same Museveni has gone to Rwanda. He has murdered 1.5 Rwandese in the name of Erebori Bembe.
Sudan.
He went to Sudan for peace. Up to now, after Southern Sudan got its independence, it's over 15 years. Is there peace in Sudan? No. There's no peace in Southern Sudan. It has gone to the war. It's now worse than before. Why? Museveni
Ekitunda
owns
gy'ekizimbe.
50% of the
Yakyegeza
oil
kimulema
wells in
okuzikanya.
Southern Sudan. He's sending his army to protect his business. He sends in his army into DRC Congo. Rwanda, he was one time, 8 years back, the largest exporter of diamond and gold. But we don't have no gold reserves in Rwanda. Rwanda is a small village. They don't have no minerals. But Rwanda was the largest exporter of gold and diamond on the world market. Where is that gold coming from? DRC Congo. That's why the war in DRC Congo will never finish until Museveni and Kagame are out of power. These are cousins. Museveni is in Uganda, Kagame is in Rwanda. And this is what we are fighting.
cronyism.
One is
This
RDC.
first family all over the East and the DRC is killing the majority.
Yes.
Democracy, they used to say is the majority, but now democracy is the minority. That is the American word now when it comes to Uganda and Rwanda. Would expect that America, a civilized country, everyone wants to go to America. Why? Because of human rights respect, because of democracy, because it's open. You go to America, you study, you get a job. They don't look where you're coming from. But this is a man, Museveni, who calls himself a Pan-African. But he's busy killing his own people. He's busy torturing his own people. He's promoting cronyism. His son is the head of the army. He's already progressing to take over from him. That can't be democracy. We've never heard the American president condemning this. We've never heard the UK government condemning this. What we see on TV, the UK Foreign Minister visiting Uganda, taking pictures with the brutal son of the brutal dictator Museveni. People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
NUP.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
NUP.
We come out to represent our people in Uganda.
Yes.
Some of us, we've been here 35 years,
Yes.
30 years, 20
Yes.
years, 15
Yes.
years, 5 years.
2 years.
We can count with that. I don't mind about Uganda, but we do mind about Uganda.
Yes.
Uganda is a very beautiful country.
And very
But this
rich.
brutal dictator, he has made Uganda to be unlivable. We can't live there under this junta.
Yeah.
People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
NUP.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
NUP.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
And we don't want aid. We just need good governance.
Stop it.
Good governance. That's all we need.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Good afternoon, Uganda.
Good afternoon.
The people you see behind me here and the people you see here are Ugandans.
Yes.
To demonstrate for the bad leadership that's governance in Uganda. We are here to tell the Americans to stop and
Bulwaki
the
ki?
bad regime, the wrong regime. In America,
Ono
they
omwana
changed leadership
omusajja
13 times. We still have one dictator, Museveni. He's killed people, he's murdered, he's raped, using the
teba
gun.
oli agulirira yagulirira era lwe baakubako kaakatini lwe bateekayo akatini nga tubataddeko akazito.
Among that, you finance this judiciary, which is a kangaroo court,
Yeah.
the military courts. You financed him to be in Somalia, so that it keeps the peace you disturbed.
Yeah.
Saidi Barre wasn't bad. When you went in, took away Saidi Barre, there was a vacuum. What happened? The Americans couldn't maintain that. IDD gave you a good boot. Then you sent in the Ugandans. They have been there forever. You went to Sudan, broke it to 2-2. The South Sudan, Museveni is being funded to be in Sudan. Then, as if it's not enough, you've gone to Congo, you want him there, you funded him. This brutal dictator has nothing functioning. There is no public service.
Nothing.
The judiciary doesn't exist.
Yeah.
There are military courts where civilians and people like me are taken. People who are being raped and tortured in torture chambers.
Imagine.
The same happens with Ministry of Health. There is no health service.
No.
All the people in power
Yeah.
get medical tourism. All the people in power get asylum, education tourism.
Yeah.
If they were to build good schools and good hospitals, why would they bring their children over to UK?
Why?
They say their children in Uganda. The parliament in Uganda is the only parliament that has set aside $300 million to treat the MPs abroad.
Imagine.
MPs make sense. What 300 million do? They could build a big hospital that will treat MPs. They don't need to travel abroad for medical tourism.
Yes.
In Uganda, it's the only country where United States gives us all the equipment, the tankers, the boots, the torture machines, and you find the same equipment, ammo, being used on the local people. A good example is the Lion of Mogadishu. He came from Somalia with all the American vests, boots, guns for the last election in 2001. And the Lion of Mogadishu warned us that those coming and the noob, be prepare your coffins. Hey, he's in the coffin. He's been there for some time. That's how it works. He got into the coffin before us.
Yeah.
So you equip these people, they use the same equipment to kill us.
Yes.
They use the same armor to imprison us.
Yes.
They use the same skills to torture, the Guantanamo Bay torture skills.
Yes.
Because you train our army to torture us. Recently, Agatha Atuhaire was tortured by Tanzanian and Ugandan military people. These people were using same techniques. Bobby Young is being tortured by the same people, using American techniques, using American guns, using American pistols and boots. We've got a lot of people in prison. Why? Because the Americans have funded our prisons.
Yes.
They have funded our torture.
Yes.
They have funded the torture places.
Yes.
They have made sure they keep the dictator in place. How? They finance everything through every means possible.
Yeah.
Soft loans, grants, USAID, AGOA. All those are means to keep the dictator in place.
Yes.
They have never checked if he's accountable to anything.
They don't care.
Americans, this is a rude awakening. If you can't sort him out, we sort him out. There will be no room for a dictator in our country. When it happened in Rwanda, you said you didn't see genocide coming. It's coming and quick in Uganda. And it will be worse than Rwanda.
Yeah.
But you're sitting back and folding hands. Now we have this lovely president of America called Trump. He's been to Iran, he's been fighting all these battles.
Yeah.
Once they're done in Iran, it will be the Uganda army or the militias from Uganda to go in. We've got a lot of Ugandan forces in Iraq to keep the peace.
Yeah.
We've got Ugandan army also in Somalia. Because when you disturb the peace, you leave it to us to pick up. And you equip the dictator with guns, boots, and torture skills. So, Americans, this is a rude awakening. We are not asking for money.
No.
We don't want the intervention from America.
No.
All we want, stop
Funding the dictator
to prolong our pain.
Yes.
We kept him in power, not under any check, for the last 41 years. Every American president rolls out a carpet for the dictator. And
Yes.
the dictator is happy to see all the lobbyist companies are run by Americans.
Yes.
Paint a good image of Uganda. CNN never talks bad of the dictator.
No.
NBC never talks bad of the dictator.
Never.
Sky News keeps praising.
Yes.
It has praise songs for the dictator.
Yes.
BBC does the same. They are praise singers for the dictator. Yet we are being tortured. Nobody mentions about the dictator.
No.
And that's what's more painful.
Why?
When we get in power, we check you out. Because if you can praise sing for the dictator, you don't know how much pain is caused. People are being raped, people are being killed, people are being maimed. Our mothers are raped day and night.
Yeah.
The kangaroo courts, which are called military courts, and they're killing us all the time. And America is folding its hands. When the dictator passed again, Lesbian law, the Americans got a rude awakening and stopped the funding.
It's okay.
Other than that, there is no time America stopped the funding, except when he said that the gay and lesbians is illegal. Then the Americans woke up, they got a rude awakening, and they came in with the force and stopped it. Are the gay rights different from human rights?
No.
If it's not, then they should start with the human rights. Human rights covers all of us.
Yes.
We and the gay and the lesbians. So get it right. America, stop funding the dictator.
Stop.
You kept him in power for too long. We will sort him out.
Yes.
They say, when you stop reasoning, that's when you start fighting.
Yes.
We are about to stop reasoning.
Yes.
And that's when we start fighting. Be warned, when we start fighting, You won't like it. We've warned you long enough. Thank you for listening.
People power. Our power. Everywhere. Bachikuba right and center, right and center. Kakati tugendako mu kamyuzi. Ya, kimanyi nti bwe tugenda ku music tuba tulina okupozingamu. Oba tetulina copyright. Tetulina copyright.
Music. You okay with music? Are you okay?